This is the Less Insurance Dependence podcast show with my good friend Gary Takas and myself, Narain Arul Raja.
We appreciate your listenership, your time, and most of all, we appreciate your intention to reduce insurance dependence in your practice. Our goal is to provide information that will help you successfully reduce insurance dependence and convert your practice into a thriving and profitable dental practice that provides you with personal, professional, and financial satisfaction.
Welcome to the Less Insurance Dependence podcast. I'm your host, Lester D. Alvis. This podcast is dedicated to helping dental professionals build stronger, more profitable practices with less reliance on insurance. Today, I'm thrilled to welcome Maria Jackson, founder and CEO of Dental AI Solutions and a fractional CTO with 20 years experience across clinical hygiene, DSO operations, and digital transformation. Maria has trained clinicians on AI-powered systems across 30 plus offices. What makes her different is that she brings a real clinic view to AI, helping teams connecting technology with daily patient care so it actually works in practice. So in today's episode, we've titled it as AI as Leverage for Independence, Turning Smart Technology into Practice Freedom. So we'll explore why insurance is often the symptom and not the disease, and where AI creates real operational leverage, and what readiness looks like before you adopt these tools. If you've been wondering whether AI is hype or a genuine path to fee-for-service freedom, this conversation will give you clarity. Maria, welcome to the show. We're so glad to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, so you spent I think 20 plus years in clinical dentistry, trained dental teams on AI, and now help practices use AI. From your view, what does the future look like for independent dental practices in an insurance-driven industry?
So I've been in the industry some time, and my dad used to practice oral surgery. So I've seen dentistry go from, dipping the radiographs all the way down to digital radiographs, intraoral scanning, pictures. I mean, we've progressed quite a lot in dentistry. One thing that always kind of struck me was insurances was just kind of a pain, right? Like the front desk has to sit there, call, diligent amount of hours and dedicate so much time to insurances to not even really generally get it all right, because there's just so many little questions that you really have to understand and know what to ask insurances so that you're able to write everything down so that the insurance can pay it. But I realized over time with AI, that's going to change completely. It's already changing. There's a lot of startup companies emerging, and a lot of them are dedicating their time on insurances because insurances is one of those sections that it just takes up so much time, and you kind of have to be very technical. And the people in the front desk, like, you have to also consider there's like a turnover rate in the industry depending on the offices, and then you have to train all over again. And sometimes like people don't have the experience in dentistry to really truly understand what they're asking or what they need. So with AI, it helps navigate and make that process so much easier. You have a lot of AI tools right now that you have bots that are calling on your behalf, and they know exactly what to ask for. You also have companies that will do all that back end for you, and it's just working in the background. So instead of the front desk being on the phone when someone's coming in, they're able to greet patients as they're walking in and not be stuck on the phone, because those phone calls can take anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour or 2 hours, because they put you on hold, especially if they don't know on the other end. So that's another factor that you have to consider. The other end, they may or may not know exactly what you're asking for. They may just be new as well. So I think the future of dentistry, it's already changing a lot, and it's going to change even more. And I think all that lost time, it's it's going to be great because we're going to be able to dedicate more time to patients and be more empathetic.
Amazing. And I think you've seen the evolution of everything from where you've seen when your dad was practicing, and now AI has,
Oh
taken
yeah,
over. And
it's amazing. I sometimes my dad doesn't, I don't think, understand fully what I do. He'll
uh-huh.
he'll ask me like, "What exactly do you do?" He just tells people, "Yeah, like she's in the dental field and she works with AI and softwares. I don't know anything else." He doesn't really understand it because he's out of practice now.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So from what you've seen on the ground, and what's the industry getting wrong about why practices feel stuck on insurance, and where does AI create the real leverage that lowers that dependence?
Like I said, insurance is just such a long and time consuming process. And
Mm-hmm.
I think where some offices go wrong too is there's not a lot of training involved in the front. I guess either they hire somebody who knows what they're doing and they hope that they can kind of just start and roll with it, or they
Mm-hmm.
train somebody and they hope they get it, and sometimes it clicks and most of the time it just doesn't. With AI tools now, it's going to be so much easier so that people can focus on other things. Right now, the best leverage that we have with insurance with AI within the insurance space is the fact that they know the exact questions. The AI is already a trained model. So as long as the
Yeah.
models are trained specifically to all those questions, and a lot of those questions in insurances, it's a lot of the same stuff. So as long as those models are being trained, I mean, it's just a robot. It's just repeating the same thing again and again. And it's more consistent too. Whereas sometimes, like, even though we have sheets in the front and
Mm-hmm.
someone is going row by row, but
Yeah.
sometimes there's certain situations that you may need to ask other questions that you may not consider or think of because you just want to get out of the phone. Whereas with AI, it's
Mm-hmm.
very consistent across the board. And as long as the models are trained, you're always going to get a consistent answer on the other end.
Yeah, yeah. And like you said, I think leverage is the key word here. It's the right word. I think there are some practices that underutilize AI, and basically they don't leverage it in to the maximum.
Yeah.
So, so now when like now to this follow-up question now, so when practices integrate AI, there are some practices that integrate it beautifully, there is no struggle. When there are other practices that still struggle. So before a dentist invest in AI as a path for fee-for-service growth, what does readiness actually look like culturally, operationally, and clinically?
I think the difference between those practices that integrate AI really well versus the other ones, some practices will are going to want to do everything at once. There's a lot
Mm,
of AI software out there. There's imaging software, there's, for insurances, there's automated perio charting. There's a lot of different categories. And I think some offices are going to want to maybe integrate two or three at the same time. And I think that's not a good idea because with everything and like anything in life, it just takes time to be able to go through the process, learn it, and actually make it a habit. But then also having a cheerleader in the office, someone who is going to keep everyone accountable to make sure that they're following through, that everybody's aligned properly. More often than not, dentists will go to meetings and they get very excited with all of the technology out there and they bring everything back and they just don't follow through, right? They just expect their team to just kind of go for it. And it doesn't work that way. There has to be someone allocated, whether that be the dentist or an office manager, or maybe a lead assistant or a lead hygienist, someone who's going to really like I said, hold everyone accountable, organize everything, have systems in place. And I think that's another reason why a lot of the DSOs, like this, the big organizations, are more successful because they do have those systems in place, and it's easier for them to kind of follow through. And usually they bring in one pilot on,
Mhm.
they adopt it, and they bring something else on. I've never been in a DSO, and I've practiced in DSOs most of my career, where they bring on so much that it's just so
Mhm.
overwhelming for the team. And there's usually
Yeah.
somebody, whether that is a hygiene coordinator or an office manager, who's just consistently asking about, those end steps, like, are we using it, have we allocated
Mhm.
which patients throughout the day, like in the schedule, we're going to actually use this. So it's about implementing maybe one patient at a time, and then just making it a habit and doing it across the board.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, so I mean, what you've been describing is really why so many practice owners stay stuck, is that either they sense something needs to shift, or but the path forward isn't clear. So if anyone listening in is sitting with that feeling, the team at Echo Marketing, who is the sponsor of this podcast, who's sponsoring this episode, is offering a complimentary marketing strategy meeting or a practice audit at lessinsurancependence.com/MSM. It's a great place to start mapping that path for you to understand where your online visibility stands. So, Maria, I want you to push on something deeper. Now, a lot of dentists hear AI and think its replacement of fewer team members or less human connection. But your work helps hygienists move into a tech-focused role. Can AI actually strengthen team culture and make a fee-for-service model more defensible?
Oh yeah, AI is not really there to replace team members. You still need that
Mm-hmm.
empathy and that human touch to everything.
Mm-hmm.
Whether that is imaging, you still need a doctor who's going to make that decision whether or not they're going to move forward with whatever the AI is telling them. Like, I'm talking more about like imaging at this point. But
Yeah.
AI is there to strengthen um, the case, and it's there to help the office run smoother, and it's going to help lessen the back and forth with the insurances. A lot
Mm-hmm.
of times, we submit to insurance, we think we're doing everything we have to on our end, but then insurance kicks back and says, oh, you're missing this in your notes, or how long did the procedure take, or how. So that there's a lot of back and forth with AI, without AI, versus with AI, that lessens a lot. I mean, will you get some kickback? Maybe, but not as much, because it's very
Mm-hmm.
consistent and the models have already been trained. So I think it's there for sure to strengthen the team culture. Not only that, everybody is cohesive and it's talking the same language. And what I mean by that is, if we go back to imaging, you have team members that will, from the beginning, right, like dental assistants that will tell their patients, look, this is the imaging, this is what it's telling you, it's there for patient education. And now the dental hygienist comes in and they talk about the AI again and say, okay, look, this is what's highlighting in your images. And then the doctor comes in. So if anything, is making your team look more cohesive, because everybody's talking the
Mm-hmm.
same language and it's more consistent. So if anything, I would say it's there to strengthen your team culture more than anything else. And it's there to get your office to a place to where there's a lot of less back and forth, and you're going to end up collecting more money and
Mm-hmm.
doing less of the work. And you're going to be able to have more time with patients and have that empathy and explain to patients what AI can't explain to them, right? So you still need people that
Yeah.
understand and know dentistry and can explain to patients and do it. But AI is there to just strengthen the team and help with patient education and understanding as well.
Yeah, I think that actually reframes the whole conversation, or the view of how be, or like anyone outside listening, or might be thinking AI is very complex, or basically, they're gonna like replace team members, or replace the human connection. But I think it's, if you look at in the right mindset, AI is something that will, humanize the practice, or make it more great, or efficient,
Yeah.
to make things better. So, as this podcast is about taking action, to anyone listening in, what is the one key takeaway or one advice that you would like to give?
There's a lot of software that's coming out, and I think it's becoming very, very overwhelming for dentists and practices because they just don't know where to start. Some people, and some people are going to say, I mean, your office should have AI, right? But the thing is too, like you want to be able to adapt something that's relevant to your office, that your office needs. Don't just pick an AI software just because you just want to be part of the trend and you want to be relevant. Really do your research or hire somebody who does that, right? Like I work with different people that's what they do. They're consultants and they listen and they look at your KPIs, they look at your metrics, they look at what your office lacks and where it needs help. And they recommend certain softwares that are good, that's good for your office, depending on what your office needs, right? So if you don't have a clear direction of what to buy or what to read or what to do, then hire somebody if you really want to implement some type of AI in your office so that they can help you do that and they can help you do that efficiently and effectively. Otherwise, you're going to waste a lot of time and nothing's going to be implemented and you're going to waste money for no reason. So that would
Exactly.
be my takeaway.
Amazing. So, Maria, I know listeners might have would like to have a chat with you, or even have understand, how they could implement AI in their practice, or just have a conversation about how things can be moving in this evolution of AI. So, what is the best way that they can reach out to you?
So you can visit my website. It's mariadentalai.com. There's a lot of information there. I also help dental professionals shift from clinical roles to non-clinical roles. And I place them with different startups and different opportunities that emerge. So you can reach me there and we can set up a call and I can give you more information of what I do then.
Amazing, amazing. So, anyone listening in, if you do want to get more details, you can also check the show notes of this episode. You can find all the details on where you can contact Maria. Maria, thank you so much for spending your time with us today.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you.
So, the biggest takeaway I'm walking away with is that AI isn't about replacing your team or chasing trends. It's about creating real leverage so you can serve patients better, free up your team, and make insurance contracts a choice rather than a necessity. If you're ready to take action, what we've covered today, you can schedule a complimentary practice audit with Equamarketing at lessinsurancependence.com/MSM. And if you're looking for mentorship and you want help with coaching, you can also book a complimentary coaching strategy meeting with Gary Takas at thrivingdentist.com/CSM. Now, remember, the practices that win the next decade won't be in the ones with the most contracts. They'll be the ones that build the most leverage. Smart systems, strong teams, and the courage to design a practice on their own terms. That's what insurance independence really looks like. Thank you for listening to the Less Insurance Dependence podcast. I am Leslie Alves, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.